Good morning, all. I'm Vinod. I head the 3D printing business at Beacon. Today, we are here to give you a brief about the new product that we have recently launched, which is the Formlabs Form for 3D printer. We would probably run through a small demonstration while we are running through the webinar at this point of time, so that you get a hang of what the printer can do. You have a question box on the right side in the GoToWebinar toolbox. Anytime you have a question in mind, you can post it on the question and answer box. During the course of the webinar, my colleagues who are also co-panelists might answer a few of those which says they seem to be aware of something that needs further explanation. I am always here and I can answer those towards the end of the webinar. First of all, thanks for joining in for this webinar. We'll start off with this now. Who we are? We are Beacon. We are headquartered in Bangalore. The company was founded in 2022. We have 7 offices across India. We are an organization which is into design and manufacturing automation, which means to say that we provide solutions to design and manufacturing automation from the designing phase to the manufacturing phase. We have 5 global alliances, more than 200 plus employees currently working with us. We are a company which has been in the existence for more than over 2 decades, and over time we also have acquired a lot of small, medium, and large customers to the tune of about 4,000 plus. Over time, as you see the slide, we started off in 2022, and the slide further gets updated. As of now, we should be somewhere close to about 5,000 customers. We are associated with Formlabs to offer the 3D printing solutions. The printer which is in question that we are discussing is also live on the live video screen, which is parallelly running. You can probably pin my presentation screen as well as the video screen along so that you can watch through as I explain. We tied up with Formlabs in the year 2021, being a company which offers design, automation, and manufacturing solutions. We thought we should have an end-to-end solution wherein a customer would want to have a design solution as well as a manufacturing solution. So anything that you design with our solutions, including SolidWorks, you can design whatever you have in your mind or in your day-to-day production activity, and then go ahead and produce your prototypes on the 3D printers. What you see currently on your screen is a product portfolio of Formlabs. We basically have stereolithography, which is SLA, and selective laser sintering, which is SLS 3D printers. Formlabs is an innovative company which came into existence with the sole idea in mind that the prototyping solutions, which were sometime back valued in worth lakhs of rupees or crores of rupees, which was not affordable for individual companies and sometimes even individuals who wanted to have it at home, was very difficult because of the cost constraints. What Formlabs did is Formlabs wanted to bring a solution which can go on to everybody's desktop at a very affordable level and still maintain the same kind of finish and accuracies which large 3D printers would offer. So they came with an innovative idea sometime in the early 2009, 2010, and they started commercializing with their printers sometime in the year 2011-12. And as we see now, they are a well-established company. They are also in the top 5 3D printer companies in the world. And if you see, they have shipped more than 130K printers already across the globe. With the customers printing day in and day out, you can see more than 300 million components being printed, over 40 plus different materials available. When I say materials, when you see 3D printer out in the market, you would either talk about PLA, ABS and stuff on the FDM level printers, which are not that very efficient in terms of the surface finish. But when you look at SLA, the people who offer SLA, it would only be 3 or 4 different materials because of the limitation of the size and the amount of material they want to consume. But our printers from Formlabs, they can print only with 1 liter of material, which helps in terms of evaluating more and more materials because your investment goes into only 1 liter. Probably today you want to print on a clear material and tomorrow you want to print on a flexible rubber kind of a material. So you only have to invest on a 1 liter of resin and you can start printing on those. So that's the major advantage what Formlabs brought into the system. As I said, they have shipped out more than 130,000 printers across the globe. More than 3 million components already printed and people are using it. Name it, what industry you have it in all the different industry segments. Be it entertainment to medical, be it engineering to aerospace, you find components from Formlabs being used in each and every area. We work with a wide variety of customers. This is just a snapshot of the global customers for Formlabs. So what is the motto of Formlabs? Formlabs wanted to make people possible to print or build tools which comes into anybody's idea. So you have an idea in your mind, you can bring it to effect using the Formlabs 3D printers. Whatever complexity may be, you will still be able to use these printers to print those. So with that, if you see Formlabs being in the industry for such a long time, they were able to print precise models which can have microfluidics, which can have very high detail printing with what you see on the right hand side. It is a very high detail component with probably it's a feather that they have printed with very high detail output. So till now we had something called as Form 3 Plus. Form 3 Plus had 4 different components into it. One is the pre-preparation software, which is the preform, which is a free of cost software, which keeps getting updated as and when you have new printers coming in, new materials are added to preform. So once you have decided to buy a printer, you will get preform, and later on, as and when new materials are added, you don't have to pay any further licenses onto it. It keeps getting added onto the material list. You get the second component is your printer. The printer, the same software will be able to help you configure either the 3 Plus or the SLS printers, which I showed you earlier, or even the larger size SLA printers, all in one will be there in preform. Then the third component is your wash, because we are printing in a liquid-based environment. Once after printing, the component needs to be given an alcohol bath. So this has been automated with the Form wash. Once the wash does its job, you then further move it to the cure unit, which is the fourth component, which will help you cure the materials. So from the printers from Form 3 had a very good review. Most of the technology experts who had tried out these printers had given a close to a 4.5 point review to these printers. So over time, as I said, in 2012, the first printer Form 1 came, then came the Form 2, then in 2019 came Form 3, and now at 2024, we are looking at an exciting new announcement, a new launch from Formlabs, which is the Form 4. Form 4, basically, you get, what advantage do you get by Form 4? One, it is blazing fast. Means to say that most of the parts you'll be able to print under 2 hours. It is versatile because you'll have more than 40 plus materials available for printing. It is intuitive, meaning to say that you will be able to learn the entire printing process in under 15 minutes. It is reliable, reason being the Form 3, which was available till now, had a very good success rate. Now with Form 4, we are trying to move much further ahead in terms of the print quality and the success rate. And the part quality, it is stunning, and sometimes when you see the components which we bring out of Form 4, it can rival the injection molded parts. And when I say this, I mean this, reason being, couple of parts that have been used in this printer manufacturing in itself has been printed on the same kind of a printer. That is a printer printing its own components. So just to run through a small video, I'm not sure if the audio quality and everything will support with the bandwidth, but we'll still go through this.
Introducing Form 4. So fast, it will change the way you work. With most prints in under 2 hours. Iterate several times a day. With a proprietary release texture, flexible film tank, and ultra-high optical power. Produce parts that always fit, rivaling injection molding with 50 micron pixels, advanced pixel smoothing, and light touch supports. Achieve an unmatched print success rate with validated print settings, precision heating, force sensing, debris detection, and remote monitoring. Tackle any problem with industry-leading materials. With an upgraded mixer and dispense system that support highly viscous and filled resins. And do it all with a workflow anyone can learn in 15 minutes. With instant material changes, comprehensive software, and automated post-processing. Enter a new era of performance, built on our next-generation low-force display print engine, featuring a high-power backlight unit, light processing unit 4, release texture, and a flexible film tank, delivering extreme speed, reliability, and print quality. Now, anyone can perfect their products, keep production running, or improve patient care. The tool you've been waiting for, Form 4.
So yeah, so that was Form 4 for you. The Form 4, the new LPU-based, LCD-based 3D printer for you. So we call it a low-force display. The low-force display engine, I'll further explain this as we go through. So this is a newer technology. So when I run this, I'll keep explaining. So it constitutes a backlight, which you're currently seeing here. So the backlight has about 60 LEDs, and the light is projected through a baffle on the lens array to make sure that the light is all projected in a proper way without any scattering. And this light passes through the LPU4, which is our LCD system, which blocks unwanted light and will project only areas where you need the component to be printed. And the release texture on top of the LCD will help release the components without any kind of a deviation on top surface of the component. And the resin tank that we use is flexible, which allows the air to be passed beneath so that the part gets released easily, because the bonding of the component happens both on the build platform as well as the resin bottom. So this gives a perfect output every time you print. This can further be explained as and when we go through the live demonstration. As we speak on the screen, we have the printer. We have a component loaded. I'll take help of my colleague Sheshagiri, who is our application engineer, to help us start the print, so that as we are going through the entire process, he'll be able to start the print and show us the entire components. Before that, he'll just give you a small demonstration of the different components of the printer. So once the printer is open, you see the build platform. I'll explain about the build platform also during our course of the presentation. So what you see here is a build platform. This is a build platform flex, which will basically help the components to be released without any problem. And then the second component is our resin tank. The resin tank is a flexible resin tank that we use for these printers. The resin tank holds the resin for printing. Then comes the cartridge that we use. So when compared to any of the other 3D printers that you would have seen, many of the 3D printers would probably have manual pouring of the resin, but we have a integrated auto pour technology in this. So auto dispense technology in this. So this is a cartridge that you're seeing. The cartridge automatically dispenses resin into the resin tank, and the printing happens. So now Sheshagiri already has the file uploaded from the preform software to the printer. So if you see, he's running the print as we talk. So the printer now has started. So let it keep happening parallelly, and I'll keep explaining you in this presentation. So Form 4 comes with multiple sensors. You see a camera there. So the inbuilt camera will help you. The camera will help you in terms of monitoring the print. There are two major advantages of the camera. So initially we didn't have a camera. You can basically test out and keep monitoring what the print is happening. And then number two, you can take beautiful time-lapse videos of the print as well. Then there is a resin level sensor, which basically checks how much of resin is available in the tank. So it will understand the minimum amount of resin is available for printing or not, and then sends out signals to the cartridge release so that more resin can be filled into the tank. There is a force sensor which always keeps checking if there is sufficient force available to release the components from the build platform or the resin tank. Then there is a resin temperature sensor wherein we have various different materials. As I said, 40 different materials. The materials, some of the materials need some temperature to be provided before printing. So this enables and checks the temperature sensors are working fine. Then there is a mixer debris sensing, which will check if there is any component which has failed, which is available on the resin tank and probably should not affect the printing. So the mixer checks on that. And there are heaters available to heat the resin. So the resin dispensing system, as I said, it's automatic. When compared to our earlier printers, this is much more faster. The initial resin dispensing in the 3+ 3D printers would take close to about half an hour, but here the automatic resin handling, with the newer automatic resin handling, the resin filling is hardly 2-3 minutes. It will take the minimum amount of material required and it will start the print. So just a small time lapse of an earlier component which was printed. So the camera keeps taking images and it can develop a very good time lapse image of this. So moving ahead. So why did we plan for a new printer when the Form 3+ was there? The Form 3+ was an amazing printer. It used to give a very high reliability. It had a very good tolerances. The components out of Form 3+ were in the range, in the tolerance range of 40 to 80 microns. Most of the customers were pretty happy. So why did we go for a Form 4? See, relying on SLA-based 3D printer always came with challenges. One of the biggest challenges was that even though it was precise, the time consumption was pretty high. So we wanted to come up with a printer that was fast. So Formlabs worked on this for more than 2 years, and then when it reached the level wherein it can bring in the required speed as well as reliability at the same cost as, almost at the same cost as 3+, and also provide a scalable solution, they brought in the Form 4. So in Form 4, you can imagine any of your components or most of your components. I will not say any of your components because there are components which should take more time, but most of your parts will be printed under 2 hours. So just to show you how blazing fast it is, you'll probably be seeing the printer currently printing on your screen. So we just started the print. You will see the components that we have printed once the print is done, but it takes hardly about 10 minutes. So if I have to talk about the speed of the printer, we also provide these printers to dental industry. So there is what you see on the first image is a dental arches. They are basically used for aligners, which you would have seen online with all the advertisements and all this coming in, the clear braces that people use. So if you see, we have printed close to about 12 arches in less than 9 minutes. 9 minutes in Form 4 when compared to the Form 3+, which used to take about 1 hour and 32 minutes to print the same kind of quantity. So the picture next to that is a black enclosure. The enclosure would have taken about 10.5 hours to print on our 3 Plus, but with the Form 4, it takes about 2 hours to print the same component. So if you look at the full volume, this is where I said that some of the components might take much longer. So when compared to the 9 hours printing on Form 3 Plus, now you can print the same component in under 5 hours. So what does it mean? It means that this helps you in iterative outputs in the same day. You probably are getting into a meeting to show a sample. You come in the morning at say 9 o'clock in the morning, you print one. It takes about say 10 to 15 minutes to print an output, or even say 1 hour to print an output. You get into a meeting and you revise your design. You come back, reprint at 11 o'clock again. Then again, somebody suggests a much better idea. You come back again and reprint at 2 o'clock. Finally, you come out with an idea that everybody agrees on to. You print it at 5 o'clock and then bring it out to the final design approval. So means that in the same day, you can print it multiple times to evaluate your component, which was not the case earlier, because when most of the SLA-based 3D printers out in the market also, you will have a challenge that it will not be able to print with such speed. If we talk about the throughput, I showed you the components which we had printed earlier, the arches. So it took about 11 minutes to print. So if you see the throughput, it is 49 seconds per part. If you see the second component, which was printed on our Fast Model Resin again at 200 microns, it probably takes about 54 seconds per part. If you are printing the mixer latch, which is again the third image, which is a component in our existing Form 4 printer. It is a clip which closes the latch, which closes the positions mixer and closes the mixer in position. So that takes about 95 seconds per part. Similarly, the resin dispense arm, which is again a component inside, which has been printed out of these printers, that takes about 111 seconds per part. So this is how fast these printers are. So when compared to our earlier printer, the build volume has increased by 30%. So horizontally, you'll get much bigger size. So we'll be able to print more parts. So I should mention here that the build volume here of Form 4 is 200 into 125 into 210. So earlier it was 145 by 145. So why did we go for a 200 into 125 build volume? With more than 3 million components already printed, we have an estimate of how much occupancy per printer a particular user is taking. So most of the components that the users have printed fall under this category. They'll be able to print under this volume. And that's the reason Formlabs decided to come up with this particular size of 200 into 125. And in height, it can go up to about 210 mm. So in terms of the print success rate, I would say the 3 Plus has already achieved more than 95% success rate. That is, anytime you print a part, you are sure to get an output. There are instances that it is not being supported properly, or it is not you manually you have not properly placed it. So those are the cases that we have seen that it fails. But otherwise, many a times we see that the success rate is always there. So initially, when Formlabs launched Form 2, we had a mediocre kind of a success rate. Then with Form 3, it increased up to 95%. With Form 4, Formlabs is committed to achieve much better success rate out of Form 4. They are talking about a 98% success rate, because sometimes we obviously see some kind of failure, but they want to meet that 98% success rate. So in terms of the materials, we have industry-leading materials for any kind of problems. So this is a material array that we have, starting from the general purpose resins, which is your day-to-day go for materials for prototyping. So you want to make multiple prototypes, you want to evaluate things day in and day out. You use gray, white, black, clear, or a fast model resin. And There's also a color kit. If you are into entertainment, you want to add some color to it. So we have a base resin to which you add colors and you create models. Then we have the engineering grade of materials, which are durable, tough materials, rigid materials, which are highly rigid. Sometimes these rigid materials we also use to make core and cavity for injection molding. We have flexible materials, including the newest launch, which is the silicon 40A, which is a pure silicon, which comes in 40A show ray hardness. We have elastic in 2 different show hardnesses. There are materials which are for dental industry, since we also cater to the dental and medical market. We have materials which can be placed directly into a patient's oral cavity because these materials are FDA class 2 cleared. We have medical materials for evaluation. We have solutions for jewelry wherein it can print very precise jewelry models. So depending on what customer segment you are, we have a solution for each and every application. So the next thing is to understand what is it that makes in terms of the costing for a printing of this out of this new printer. So our estimate says your cost per part would be 40% lower when compared to what it used to be earlier. The resins which have come up for Form 4 are priced at a very decent 10,000 and less for the general purpose ones. And there are engineering ones which range from about 18 to 20,000, can go up to about 30 to 40,000 rupees, depending on what kind of material that you use. And we also have a resin tank which can print more than 75,000 plus layers. It means to say that when compared to any other LCD based printer, these are much more reliable, and the replacement of the tanks, the frequency of replacement of the tanks is much lesser when compared to other 3D printers. If we have to compare what does it cost for me to print in-house versus how much do I pay outsourced, I would say you would be paying at least like a third of the cost to have it in-house when compared to what you pay outsourced. For example, if I have to print a component which is about 10 ml or 10 gram size, so the 10 grams cost, if I have a printer, would be 100 rupees for me. But if you outsource the same component, the outsourced component, they charge you close to about 600 rupees because they charge somewhere in the range of about 60 to 80 rupees out in the market. So it always makes sense that if you have good number of prototyping activity going on, to have these printers in-house when compared to outsourcing to the people or service bureaus outside, because the small footprint which will put it into your table will help you print at a very less cost when compared to outsourced 3D printing. And also, this is a 15-minute learning printer, so you don't have to put a person separately to this, so your manpower addition is also not required. You, out of your passion, can still work on these printers to get the required outputs. So another thing that you see here is we claim that you can get stunning parts rivaling injection molding at this point of time. So these are the components if you see. So these are very much in comparison to injection molded components. You get very precise hole dimensions, very precise height. You can add metal inserts into these components. You can mill these components. You can make whole sort of machining after printing. So all of this is possible. And the tolerances will be in the plus or minus 0.15% range. This is a short video to give you an understanding of what we claim, that how we can compete against injection molding. Need a couple of minutes of yours to go through this video. So you probably got an idea of what I was talking about. So it took about 6 hours, 59 minutes to print 1,000 mixer latches out of our printers. So we put an assembly of 4 printers against one industrial injection molding machine. So we didn't take the time taken for the mold making there, that is your core and cavity milling there. We only took from the start to the end of taking outputs out of the injection molding machine versus the printer. So we stand better when compared to the injection molding machines when we have about say 2/3 of a price or say when comparison it's about 30% of the price of the entire injection molding machine when we consider 4 printers. So as I said, anybody can learn this in 15 minutes. You just pull out the printer, put it on the table, just make sure that it is leveled because you have an option in the printer to see if the printer is leveled. Once that is done, you add your resin tank, you add your mixer, put the build platform in and start with your print. So the top cover on the printer which you see here was the one which I showed you initially in the time-lapse video. So many of our printers with the top cover which you see on the Form 4 has been printed on a similar Form 4 machine in print forms in the US. So you have a touch screen which will give you all the details about the cartridge, about the build platform, even if a particular component is missing, it will show you that this component is missing, you'll have to add this component. If there is a mismatch in resin versus the tank, it will inform you that also. So everything is inbuilt into the printer. So you'll be able to monitor each and everything out of the printer. So our LCD comes with a texture on the top and it comes with a dual layer film, which basically helps the resin tanks come with a dual layer film, which will help add air between the layers so that the component is easily removed. The rigid metal frame which is added to it, this rigid metal frame makes sure that the tension required for the resin film is always maintained. And there's a mixer which will help in detection of any kind of failures. And these resin tanks are stackable. Say today you're using a clear material, tomorrow you want to use a black and then later on white. So you are using 4 different materials. You can label these tanks with different materials and stack one above the other. And as and when required, you can replace these tanks and start using this. To protect these resins from light, because these are photopolymers, they when exposed to light, it will get hardened or lose its integrity. So we have a cover which helps it avoid the exposure to light. So we come to the build platform Flex. I told you that I'll explain you this. I think on the other screen you would have already seen that my printer is done printing. I'll ask Sheshagiri to come and remove the component out of the printer to show you the printed output. So remember that we printed this entire job in less than about 10 minutes. So there comes our output. So a similar kind of output any other 3D printer would have taken more than about 1.5 to 2 hours. But in here, it took only about 10 minutes to print. Thanks, Shish. On a regular platform, it becomes very difficult to because you'll have to use tools to forcefully remove the components, and there are chances that you will break the components. But on a build platform Flex, it is very easy to remove these components. And the most amazing part is that you would have seen the printer print even as we speak in less than about 10 minutes. The entire components were out. So the cartridge, as I've already mentioned, has a lesser footprint when compared to the 3+ 3D printers cartridge. It has a bigger volume and then fills up to 10 to 5 to 10 times faster than the earlier resin cartridges. So on the LFD print engine, we have multiple components. One is our automatic resin handling, the resin dispensing system. Then there are 6 intelligent control systems, which include the temperature, the resin level, the print forces sensor, print status sensor inside the printer. All these things put together is the intelligent control system. The flexible resin tank and the release texture on the LCD, which will help you in terms of getting the components without any kind of a deviation. And then we have light processing 4, LPU4, which is our LCD and the backlight system put together. So these will help you get the components precisely out of the printer. We also have a dashboard from Formlabs, which will allow you to monitor. Say, if you have multiple printers, you can monitor what is happening on your all the different printers. If you have only one printer, you can always monitor remotely on what is happening on your printer as well. Then these printers also connect on Wi-Fi, means to say that if you want to print something when you're remotely at home, you can still do that at your convenience. Only thing that you'll have to make sure is there is nothing on the build platform when you're sending out a print. This is the form for top cover, which goes on most of our printers. Validated print settings are available with us. We also have a print setting editor, which you can use to modify the print layers, which is available on our preform software. Remote monitoring is available. Consumables come with a shelf life of close to about 2 years. You can keep using it as long as you are under the shelf life period. Then calibration, it is pretty easy. Most of the users do it on their own. You don't require a support person to come down to do that. You can do it on your own. One advantage of Formlabs is we also offer warranties of multiple years. The printer comes with a 1-year warranty, and then additional warranties you can always go for. Under warranty, all our spare part replacement is covered, so it's a comprehensive warranty. So we take care of the warranties as well. So the other part of the printer, as I said, is a wash unit. So now there is a new wash which has come, which is a wash 2nd generation. We do not have this equipment here because we are a larger lab and we have a larger wash and cure which comes along with the Form 3L 3D printer, which is a larger printer. We're just showing you the image and I'll explaining you on this. So it is 67% larger, and it has varying levels of placement of the build platform, wherein you can change the position of the build platform with a lesser amount of alcohol as well. If you are not using it on a regular basis, you can use a lesser level of alcohol and you can still wash it. So this is an equipment which can easily automate your cleaning process. It has a impeller agitation inside, so it will give an agitation to clean all the unrequired resin out of the print component. And then once it is taken out, it comes with a light support touch points. You'll remove the support touch points from it. That is, all the supports are removed easily with your hands, and then you can put it into the cure. The cure is where the magic happens. The component out of the printer is called the green part. It is all solidified. It is all as per your tolerances. But what gives it the additional benefit in terms of the strength is this wash. So this cure. You put it on the cure at a set temperature and set time. It will give you the required mechanical property. So we suggest to go with the entire ecosystem of the printer, wash, cure, along with the build platform and the resin tank, because it will help you automate the entire process and it makes it quick and easy. So this is the entire ecosystem that we are talking about: the printer, wash, cure, then the resin cartridges, build platforms, resin tanks. Okay, I think we have reached the time. It's 12. Thanks everyone for joining this webinar. You can expect an email by today or tomorrow from our side, which will have all the details. Thanks a lot. I think it's time to end this webinar. Thanks a lot for attending. If you have any further questions, you can send us an email. Thank you.